Right. I'm in real estate space. My wife and I have a portfolio, and we have a really great real estate attorney that has helped us structure legal entities, the business entities, and, trying to prevent, any type of unveiling, if you will, making
Right.
sure the businesses stay within their lanes and that our personal life is completely separate from our business life. Is
Right.
there any quick fixes on folks out there that are in the real estate investing space on making sure that they are completely separate and that they're not piercing that corporate veil of this is my real estate business and this is me personally? Are there any quick make sure you're not doing this, make sure you're doing this?
Well, the first thing is make sure you're not doing business in your personal name. So
Mm-hmm.
Eric mentioned a legal entity. So you need to have at least one legal entity that you're operating out of for your business, and if you're an investor, for sure. But you also need multiple entities. There's one part of having a good asset protection plan for you personally would be that you want to make sure that it's anonymous if possible, so that everyone can't find what you own really easily. Your name's not on everything, and so one way to do that is to set up your top level company that I call a family holding company, and in a state that gives you that anonymity. And one of my favorites right now is Wyoming. They keep everything anonymous. They're very efficient to file. They're inexpensive, and they offer some really good asset protection laws that will protect your assets from you personally. Because one of the things that a lot of people don't plan for is I build this business, I build up real estate assets, for instance, and then I go out and create a liability personally. In my vehicle, I run over a brain surgeon in the prime of life and create this $10 million liability event. And I get sued. I lose because I was wrong. And then they have a judgment against me personally. Now they're going to go find my personal assets. And if they find you have an LLC that owns all of your assets and you're not set up in the right state, they can go through that LLC and take those assets out of it. But if you're in a state like Wyoming that has strong, it's called charging order laws, then all they get is this piece of paper that says they're entitled to the profits from that top level LLC, but they're not entitled to vote, to do anything with the assets of the LLC. They just have to sit there and wait. And probably everyone listening can think of many ways to get money out of an LLC without it being profit. And so you're in a really much stronger position if you've used a state like Wyoming, Delaware, Nevada, or several that give you that protection. The next thing you want to do is have what I call silos. And so you don't want to mix up your stuff. If you're driving through middle America, you'll see silos on all the farms, and they're holding the grain. Well, they don't mix their grain. There's multiple silos because if you mix the grain, it ruins it. So you have to keep your business activities separate. So my law firm, I have a coaching company. They're separate. If you're in real estate, you'd want to have a company that's your management company that's operating your real estate empire, but you'd also want to have entities that hold each individual real estate asset so that they're each in their separate silos. And if you'll do those things, you go a really long way to being shatterproof and having a good asset protection plan. And then the other thing you want to do is you want to actually treat it like it's a separate business. It's not a pretend thing, it's a real thing. And so you spend your personal money out of your personal accounts and your business money out of your business accounts as much as you possibly can. One of the big tricks and reason you want to be in business for yourself is so you can try to convert as many of your expenses that you're already doing in life into business expenses. So those can become write-offs. But you got to be careful that you're keeping those two lives separate. And if you do those three things, you really do have a much better chance of preventing anybody from piercing that corporate veil and actually taking what you work so hard for.
Scott, that was like a $10,000 piece of advice that a lot of people are on Google searching for those answers, on these Facebook groups searching for these answers. And I really appreciate you sharing that wise wisdom.
You're welcome.
That is something, I wish I knew 5 years ago when we got started. And
it's much easier to do it the first. It's much easier to do it fun.
We do have that corporate structure of we have a parent company and we have different companies, and we actually went even a further step of putting things in trusts and
Yep.
and making the beneficiaries different, different entities that are scattered about. That way,
You bet.
they have to go through multiple layers to even get to the parent company that doesn't even really associate with us. That piece of advice, I wish I'd found it when I first got started.
Yeah, what we just talked about is kind of beginner level of asset protection. You can get as fancy as you want to,
Right.
and sometimes you need to. But I like to teach people it's really important to crawl, walk, and run. And so, start out with the basics, learn how it works. Don't just do what everyone tells you to do. Get some understanding of why you're doing it. Get used to doing it, and let it get more complicated as your businesses grow.
Right. All right.